It's November 10th, 2012, and these are your headlines. If you're watching us right now, you can see we're coming to you on kind of a dreary, cloudy day outside the Texas Capitol. There's already been a lot of action, especially just last night in the Texas Senate. Just over 48 hours into the fourth special session in Austin, the Texas Senate has once again made quick work of Governor Greg Abbott's agenda, passing legislation relating to every item on the call in literally just a matter of hours. Last night, or rather on Tuesday evening, earlier this week, Abbott called lawmakers back for another special session dealing with border security and school choice. Now, while the House has begun committee hearings on those items, and they've passed some of those items out of committee, the Senate has already passed them completely. They've sent them to the House. Last night, the Senate bill passed Senate Bills 1 through 4. Let's run through those. Senate Bill 1 by State Senator Brandon Creighton deals with school choice. It is the exact same education savings account legislation that the chamber passed during the third special session. Students enrolled in the program would receive an $8,000 education grant, education savings account, which they could use to pay for tuition in a private school in the state. Families could also use the funds to pay for materials their school requires, academic assessments, private tutoring, transportation to school, or fees for educational therapies. The bill was approved in a party line vote of 18-10. Senator Robert Nichols was not there. He's a Republican who normally has voted against these proposals. Senate Bill 2, also by Senator Creighton, includes teacher pay raises as well as additional funding for school safety. The chamber approved the proposal 27-1. Senate Bill 3 by State Senator Joan Huffman appropriates $1.5 billion to border barrier infrastructure and increases law enforcement overtime pay, including extra staffing. This is important at the Colony Ridge development in Liberty County that we've talked about a lot. It was approved in a party line vote of 18-10. Senate Bill 4 by Senator Charles Perry brought perhaps the most controversy. The legislation creates a new state crime for entering Texas illegally and authorizes Texas law enforcement to arrest and prosecute all people who cross the border illegally anywhere in Texas. Punishment starts with up to 6 months in jail for a first-time offender and 2 years in state jail for a second-time offender. Illegal border crossers can be returned to their port of entry in order to leave the country or face stiffer penalties. During the third special session, similar legislation was carried by Senator Brian Birdwell. His version, however, would have illegal aliens returned to federal authorities at ports of entry after conviction by a judge. Last night, Birdwell was the only Republican in the Senate to vote against the proposal, saying it would violate the Constitution and infringe on federal immigration enforcement authority. The legislation was approved 17-10. Now, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick commended the Senate on passing all of Abbott's special session agenda. Because he's still recovering from pneumonia, the Senate was overseen by Senator Charles Schwertner. The Senate is now recessed until Monday afternoon. Meanwhile, school choice legislation in the House has hit a new milestone after being voted out of committee today. This marks the first time that school choice legislation has passed a committee in the Texas House. House Bill 1 by Representative Brad Buckley would create an education savings account of approximately $10,500 available to any child. Unused funds do not roll over from year to year. A child who is homeschooled will qualify for $1,000. The program will be limited by funds allocated by the legislature every 2 years. And ESAs will be awarded based on family income levels. Students who accept the ESA will be required to take a state assessment test or a national norm reference test. Those who do not perform satisfactorily on the assessment 2 years in a row will be disqualified from the program. The plan also includes teacher pay raises. In year 1, full-time teachers, nurses, counselors, and librarians will earn $4,000 bonus, while part-time employees will earn $2,000. In the second year, the continuation of pay increases will be set by local districts using the state's basic allotment process. The bill was heard yesterday in the House Select Committee on Educational Opportunity and Enrichment and was approved in a 10-4 vote today. Despite the billions of dollars in teacher pay raises and additional school funding, the legislation was, surprise, surprise, still opposed by teacher unions. Those voting against moving the proposal forward included Democrat Representatives James Tallarico, Gina Hinojosa, Barbara Gervin-Hawkins, and Harold Dutton. Representative Trey Martinez-Fisher, who chairs the House Democrat caucus, cautioned members that the vote was merely to move the bill forward in the process to receive an up or down vote by the full House. That vote could come as soon as next week. The fourth special session is slated to end December 6th.
Do you want to see the world around you change? Are you looking for an internship that will help Texans lead the way in our country?
Texas Scorecard provides real news for real Texans and is one of the fastest growing news outlets in the state. Right now, Scorecard is looking for young people interested in journalism and media.
We call it the fellowship. Not exactly that kind of fellowship, but you will find yourself around like-minded world changers dedicated to telling stories that matter to Texans.
We're looking for young people ages 18 to 25 to join our paid fellowship. All fellows will receive a monthly stipend of $2,000 to cover their expenses.
Fellows will have the opportunity to specialize in one of three tracks: writing, research, and administration.
Go to texasscorecard.com/fellowship to apply today.
Lastly, a new free speech-focused college has been awarded full university status after its initial launch 2 years ago. That's the University of Austin, which was founded by former New York Times writer Barry Weiss. It's a new university with a mission guaranteeing intellectual freedom and protecting against discrimination and indoctrination. The new school also says it will serve as a model for other institutions of higher education. In September, we reported on free speech rankings among colleges nationwide. The rankings showed that Texas A&M University was among the top free speech friendly universities in the country, while the University of Texas at Austin was ranked among the lowest. The University of North Texas scored higher than UT, but still ranked below the national average. You can find more stories from today at texasscorecard.com.
No ads, no paywalls, no government grants, and no corporate masters. Just real news for real Texans. This is Texas Scorecard.